Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining in, and I wish you a beautiful and a happy new year. It's so great that you found your way here to this month episode of the live stream, actually, the first one in 2024. I'm happy to have you, and I would like to outline my plans I made for today. So, my first idea, what I'd like to do with you today is I'd like to wrap up the first two interviews we made just to share some experiences and to give you an idea about what happened and how things felt and how things turned out. And in a way, I actually want to encourage you to look at the interviews at YouTube once again. So, there are many, many crucial details which are too valuable to not be viewed again or many times. Secondly, I'd like to outline some of the future directions I thought might become useful for HR professionals in the near future. So this is something which was kind of triggered with your kind feedback, some thoughts, some ideas I had, and I wanted to summarize and present to you. But those are only my thoughts, and that's why the third part becomes very, very important, where I want to encourage you to share your feedback, your thoughts, and your ideas with me, because perhaps I only made it up in this mind and it is not helpful for you at all. Perhaps you have other ideas about what could be helpful, what could be useful for a HR professional. So I will just make this a more interactive format, and I would encourage you very much, or I would appreciate it very much if you shared your thoughts. So let's come to the first part. The initial idea why I wanted to start a live stream about AI was actually I wanted to contribute to a productive discussion. So nothing which is like a sale talk or something like that, but I wanted to provide a stage for humans who prove to be kind, sensitive, and positive in their overall nature. So there has to be a certain, say, mind and heart set in order to qualify for this, and who at the same time should be capable of dealing with complex matters. So once things become really complicated, and that usually is the case when you implement some artificial intelligence projects or products, then I wanted them to be capable of dealing with them and not be like overwhelmed with the amount of information they have to process simultaneously. And of course, they should be willing to really develop, share, and discuss ideas. And actually, this turned out very nicely that it's hard to find a better description for our first interview partner, Dr. Klaus Lassert. You can find the interview we did with him when you access this order. How does this work? Okay, when you access this YouTube link, which is depicted there, or you use the QR code, then you can find what we actually did with him. And I very much encourage you to do so, because there were so many interesting things showing up. Klaus considers himself as a tactical psychologist, and the part with the 20 years of international experience, this is the part I added because he's much too modest to add this by himself. He has 20 years of experience in international cooperations in making ideas actually work, which is a great thing to have. So he was even willing to share some of the crucial details or some of his insight, what are the crucial factors to make ideas really work in a corporate international setting. And so it was very cool that he was also willing to share very specific examples of how time management and the requirements for time management differ between Europe and Asia. And at the same time, he was willing to share some insights about how it felt to implement feedback systems and what were the crucial requirements and what are, like in general, challenges and opportunities when you implement AI projects. And what I liked very much is he has enough experience to boil down the crucial or the critical factors to like very few ones, which are very important to be kept in mind when you're actually dealing with a corporate setting, which is, first of all, the solution you're about to implement has to be available, like readily available. It has to be simple. Simplicity is a crucial factor. And it has to prove to be useful, not to be too difficult to be explained. It has to work out of the box and be useful right now. So when this kind of worked to whet your appetite, then perhaps you want to have a look at the recording of this live stream or of the interview with Klaus. Another very pleasurable interview was the interview I could conduct with Paola. Paola is a very interesting interview partner because she comes from another discipline. She comes originally not from the HR discipline, but she's an architect. And so I described her part as what happens when human resource and architecture meet under the umbrella of artificial intelligence. And what is very interesting about her live stream or her interview was that she could outline what are the differences and what do human resource and architectural requirements have in common when it comes to implementing artificial intelligence projects. And she was very specific in giving specific advice what practices to implement when you notice and monitor cultural biases. So that was very interesting because she gives very specific advice in her talk. She even gives like hints to some interesting part of literature and some tutorials which are available online. So I highly recommend to tap into this and to look at them. And she also spoke about ways to monitor and regulate artificial intelligence development things. This is also very interesting to look at because no one actually knows how this is going to work out and no one actually knows what's going to happen. So it's more important to have people or to know people who have an idea like of the overall structure behind this, of the system behind this, of the implication behind this. And so it was a great thing to talk to Paola, have this very nice interview. And if you want to look at this interview once again, you can also access the interview directly using this QR code or this direct link, or just ask us or go to www.eligo.de/livestream, whatever you prefer. So first of all, thank you for all the feedback you gave me, be it personally or be it over livestream at eligo.de. And I very much appreciate the feedback from our viewers because this is the most important thing for me to kind of tailor it to things which could actually become useful for you. Your questions and your feedback make me think about main topics like 3.1. I think HR professional might find helpful in the next month. I will be outlining these ideas in a few moments. But these are only, once again, these are only my thoughts. I don't claim them to be like the right ones. It's just it's an initiation to make you react to this. This will be the most important part for me because I require your feedback. I need your feedback. I highly appreciate it. And the more specific you give me feedback, the better I can tailor this format to what you actually need or what might be helpful for you. Two things very important. First of all, I promise to neither add your email to any newsletter. So if you send me or if you send some sort of feedback, this will be a one-off. This will be just one message. Perhaps I'll ask you something back or something if I don't understand something, but I will not add you to any newsletter or any list. And B, I won't ever quote your feedback unless you tell me to in this live stream. So if something crosses your mind, just shoot. Just let me know. Just let me know what crosses your mind, because the more intuitively you do this, the better I can tailor this HI podcast or this HI news stream to your need. Just shoot, just let me know. You can address the feedback to livestream@eligo.de, or you can, if you want to, if that suits your feelings or your needs better, you can contact me via my LinkedIn profile. And now we come to the part where I threatened you with telling you what kind of thoughts I made up, what might be interesting to cover within the next, say, 5 to 10 episodes. And to be able to think about that, I wanted to review first what effects of artificial intelligence on human resource work are to be practically expected. I think this is a very interesting part, that implementing AI tools for human resource tasks mean a lot of opportunities. So there are many, many nice things which can happen, but we have to be aware, and this sounds very, very often like a prediction of doomsday or something. We have to be aware that we touch fundamental political questions when we use human resource, because it's kind of, or when we are in human resource settings, because in the very end, it's when we make use of artificial intelligence, then it is a computer makes a decision which might become relevant for a human being. And this sounds small, but the implication of this are huge. And so it's very important that we actually are open and that we share our opinions about how things are feeling, about emotional things. Because being a psychologist, my experience is when you don't implement a way in which it is easy to share emotional things, then kind of the tension rises until things might become really, really ugly. And the fundamental things we are touching or we are tapping actually have to do with the distribution of wealth and power. So this is a very, very hard issue to talk about. How are wealth and power and access to resources and opportunity distributed? What are the implicit rules which account for some people being able to tap these resources and others are not? And the third and very, very emotional part is who actually pays when the system is unfair, when there are some fairness flaws of the system. So what I want to stress or to emphasize is it's already hard to talk about those things when everything works like okay-ish and when you have to talk about other people's needs. And now think from the perspective of the employee or the applicant that it might be even more difficult to speak up. If you feel like you specifically, your case, you personally feel treated in an unfair way, or it cannot be explained properly to you why artificial intelligence, for example, did not consider your CV for a promotion or a job. This is usually under this umbrella term of pre-selection or something, and people usually, when you ask critical questions about how this is done in artificial intelligence, and people say, yeah, it's just pre-selection, everyone is allowed to apply, and so on and so on. Formally, this is right, but there is also a, say, more hidden way of discrimination, which means you're not considered, say, in general suitable from your overall profile to be chosen as part of one specific group. And this is one of the typical unfair things which are very, very hard to address, especially if they happen to you. And this becomes even harder when you imagine that you get the feeling that your prospective employer, be it your prospective or your current employer, appears to be not listening when you try to address these issues. This is actually where the tension is kind of rising. And this is where you become actually angry. And this is something I want you to prevent, or I want us as a discipline prevent from happening, because when we don't implement a way where people are really listening, I mean like really listening, they're not listening in a way which makes it easier for the corporation or something to not care, or which gives a predefined answer why things are out of question or whatever. But people have a very specific feeling when someone does not want to listen, and an even more critical feeling when something does not want to listen to their special case. So my prediction is like that in a transitional phase, we will face situations where artificial intelligence makes decisions, like when it's applied, although not everything is clear with all the critical questions with regard to how is this to be applied in human resource settings. AI will make some decisions it was not allowed to make, or it will prepare them. And my prediction is that human resource and company will be held accountable for that. So in a way, they'll have to decide why this happened. They'll have to say, have the artificial intelligence back when we don't come up with a better system of how to implement artificial intelligence projects. So it's becoming crucial not only to keep in mind the employees as well as the applicant's perspective, but it's becoming crucial that the terms or the rules according to which the artificial intelligence made its decision are able or can be explained in human language. Because if you can't do so, if you have to refer to the specifics of some computational system or something, it will be very hard to get people on board and explain to them why, although it was not the nicest decision with regard to how it worked out for them, it was a correct one and it was formally okay to do it like that. But you have to say something like, yeah, I'm sorry that the pre-screening did not recognize your application as a perhaps valid one or whatever. This makes things even more difficult because we might face a situation where an employee might file a lawsuit because their CV was not considered for a promotion. One of the major things people are advertising right now are the screenings of curriculum vitae. Like, it's a search process who might be suited to work in some position. And very often you can't see this from what is written in the curriculum vitae. So there is some problem like showing up in the further future. Because currently artificial intelligence is very good, or is, say, okay, however you see this, however you optimistic or pessimistic you are, is very good at making decisions, but very bad at explaining them. It's very bad at outlining the rules. It's a computational system. It's a neural network or something. And you can compare this to some extent to a grumpy colleague. That's why I dubbed him, like, with tongue-in-cheek, as quiet chat. So you might have to talk to quiet chat, and quiet chat cannot tell you why he decided in a certain way not to recognize a certain curriculum vitae as it might fit the profile in the further future or something like that. And my prediction is that human resource might be required at some day to explain why the built-in artificial intelligence in some system did not highlight the CV as an important one, or one which has to be mentioned to your human resource department. So you have to be like you are held accountable for those things which the artificial intelligence might have done, and even worse, might have not done. And that's where I derive some of my view of upcoming challenges for the human resource department from. So my point of view is we'll have, first of all, develop and explain an applicable concept of validity to be able to discuss these strange questions. Because whenever I try to discuss those strange questions with other departments, then I kind of feel that they think they seem to assume that this is some sort of the mind game from the weird psychologist or something like that when I talk about validity. But it usually only boils down to the question whether you believe that artificial intelligence tells the truth or the human resource department tells the truth, and which one is the notion of truth we'd like to have as the standard truth. This is, once again, this is not a mind game. This becomes very specific once you have a case which is decided or pre-decided by some artificial intelligence and you don't agree with the decision that the intelligence made. So we have to elaborate on what truth do we agree with other departments to measure how correct the predictions were, like looking back. What kind of decision did the system predict, and what prediction actually proved to be the valid one, and at what point of time do you measure this truth. And the third part, which will become very, very interesting, is how can we explain the relevance of this concept? It's a very, very abstract concept to prevent discrimination, because when you can't answer or when you don't continuously validate the way human resource or artificial intelligence projects actually make or prepare crucial decisions, then this will become hard to defend, even if the whole system, and now I'm talking about artificial intelligence and the human resource department as a whole system, when they made a decision which was not a nice one, but it was a correct one. So these are only my thoughts, the first part of my thoughts, and I would love to learn what you think about this. Do you think this could be a direction which could be helpful for you, or what kind of alteration of this concept would be more helpful? Just let me know. Me personally under LinkedIn, or just send an email to livestream@eligo.de. The second part of the upcoming challenges for HR departments, from my point of view, is actually that we have to develop a strategy for the in-between phase, because the current legislation or the current ideas usually deal with some rules which say behave or seem to assume that at some point artificial intelligence will perfectly work. And I think there will be a very, very long transitional phase where this will not be the case. And I think we have to develop a strategy on how to implement artificial intelligence support, how to monitor it, and how to actually understand what the artificial intelligence was doing, and to do so with the very specific requirements of human resource applications. So this boils down to a question like, who in the very end is held accountable if AI was wrong and we or another department did not notice it? So we could not prevent this from happening. We just have to say, quiet chat decided like this. We don't know how. Who's held accountable if this happens? And how can we establish a process of in which we can deal with wrong AI predictions which affect humans? Because this will for sure at some point happen. This will happen, although people who like to sell artificial intelligence products better like to say, stay quiet about this, but I'm quite sure there will be cases where this will happen. And how do we set up a strategy where handling those mistakes is not covered behind the, say, taboo curtain, so we don't speak about this? When someone asks us, we will not elaborate on this, and we will just stay quiet and something. When emotions of people are involved, because this is for sure going to happen when there are some pre-selection processes, how they are to be expected when it comes to HR work. So this is the second part of my thoughts, like what can we do or what can we prepare in order to make this implementation of artificial intelligence under the guidance of human resource department work? Because I think the alternative might be that if we don't deal with those questions or with those problems, then I believe that it might happen that human resource will be, say, boiled down. The task they have to perform will be boiled down to preparing data in a way that artificial intelligence is able to make use of them. So I think there are a lot of things at stake, and I think it might be quite interesting to have a certain theoretical background in which human resource management can have a say in this and develop a perspective on how to do this. The third part is we can also, and I think we're well advised to do so, We can start with having an overview of a legal and professional frameworks, which might provide some frame of reference because they were facing similar challenges. And we could use the experience they have made when we kind of access those ideas. We might make use of the experience other people had in similar, not necessarily the same settings, so we don't have to wait for the Artificial Intelligence Act, like all these official acts explicitly mentioning or centering the artificial intelligence itself, like the European Union Artificial Intelligence Acts or the Hiroshima International Guiding Principles, which were issued by the group of G7 leaders. And I think what actually could be very, very interesting to tap into, because it's, say, in its beginnings, it's rather old, but it has very, very interesting, specificity in the regulation system. We could actually tap the EEOC Commission files. So the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, which is a US government, but those ideas behind those are easily accessible, and they have a very specific outline. They are very easy to follow, and there is a lot of practice around how people are dealing with, say, a predicted truth, which proved to be not so true and so resulted in some sort of discrimination. So what do you think about these or my ideas about upcoming challenges for the HR department? Please, once again, please let me know what was your impression. If you have anything else in mind you would like to be covered. Of course, I'm still searching, or I'm still looking for further interview partners. So this won't be a, say, standard situation that you see only me chatting here about these very, very complicated or very, very nitty-gritty things. But I also like to invest further guests. If you have some ideas who could be among my further guests, who could be an interesting one to interview, please let me know. So this was a bit shorter than the other live streams we had so far. Thank you very much for your attention anyway. Please consider signing up at www.eligo.de/livestream to allow us to keep you updated in case I get the flu or something like that. In case you like our stream, please share that and bring a friend next time. The next stream is scheduled for Friday, the 2nd of February, 14 CET, same time like now. If you have a person in mind you'd like to see featured or interviewed here, please let me know. Once again, you can contact me via LinkedIn or send an email to livestream@eligo.de. I highly appreciate those ideas. Please address feedback, questions, comments, concerns, and ideas to livestream@eligo.de. So thank you very much for your attention. May you have a beautiful day and a beautiful weekend ahead. Thank you so much. All the best for 2024.